So today is April 3rd, and April 3rd marks the 1-month anniversary of the release of the Nintendo Switch. And initially, I was very impressed with the system. I gave it a good glowing review, and of course, we've done subsequent videos on this channel about the Nintendo Switch. But coming up on the 1-month mark, I thought it would be fun to take a look at the system, the highs, the lows, what I like, what I don't like, the games, all that sort of fun stuff, and see if 1 month after the purchase of the Nintendo Switch, if it is still worth it, if it is still something that you should be in the market for. So let's find out. So the first thing we need to talk about is, of course, the hardware itself. Now, initially, I was a big fan of the hardware of the Nintendo Switch, but I hadn't really taken it out into a portable setting. You know, when you saw that initial teaser trailer for the Nintendo Switch, you saw people bringing it out in public, trying it at events and whatnot, you know, parties and all that sort of jazz. And I was kind of hesitant to do that because this is a $300 machine. You know, it's an expensive piece of hardware, and I didn't know, you know, how it would be in real world settings. So I initially waited until I got a protector for it, you know, just a little system case before bringing it out. And one of the things I really like about the system is the portability aspect. I've gotten anywhere from 3 to 6 hours depending on what game I was playing or brightness settings on the system, and for the most part everything has been really good. I've actually done some stuff at work where I set it up in tabletop mode and I give someone else a Joy-Con and we play, you know, a game of fast RMX. And they might know what the hell is going on, but I really just wanted to test the system to see if it had sort of that mass appeal, if people were really interested in it. And most of the people that I worked with that were, you know, somewhat interested in technology to begin with were interested in the system. And I think Nintendo did a good job with the portability aspect of it. It is a bit big, it is a bit clunky, but in today's society, you know, iPads are so big and those are considered portable, and this is much smaller than an iPad, so I think it hits the mark in that portability aspect. Now, of course, there have been horror stories about the dock scratching your screen and Joy-Cons not working, etc., etc. Me personally, I've had no issues. Most of my friends, I think all of my friends, have had no issues. I've gotten a few tweets about, you know, the dock potentially scratching your system, but I've never really ran into an issue with it. And I take it in and out of the dock a lot because I'm on the go a lot if I'm working or something like that. And I've had no issues with it. So I'm not sure if it's just user error or what it is. We of course saw systems that were bricked initially during that first launch batch, but that happens with new technology. Let's look at some of the old systems. I went through 3 Xbox 360s in the first month of the launch of the system. I went through 2 PS3s in the first month of launch of the system. And I even had an issue with my Nintendo Wii, and it had to be sent back in for, you know, to fix a problem. So it happens. It happens with new technology, and I'm not sure why so many people got up in arms about it and made such big spectacles of, you know, a botched launch because of system malfunctions, when in actuality they were just isolated incidences. And as far as the Joy-Con issue goes, Nintendo has since in fact fixed this issue, and if you're having Joy-Con problems, they ask you to just send it in and they'll fix it for you free of charge. So once again, Nintendo's doing the right thing with it. I think the hardware is just phenomenal. Everything just plays great on it and everything looks great on it, and it's just really well done. It's definitely captivating to the you know, people who aren't hardcore gamers, and it's definitely captivating to people who are hardcore gamers because you can take that same experience with you on the go. Now, of course, none of this matters if the games have sucked for the system so far. So I've decided to talk about some of the games I've been playing this first month on the Nintendo Switch. So obviously the big game that everyone has been playing is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I've put in probably anywhere upwards of 150 hours into that game, and I'm still discovering new things. It's definitely one of the most unique games that I've ever played, and I think that's really one of the staples of the Nintendo Switch, is how games seem to be very unique on the platform. Now, of course, this was the big retail release for the system, but there have been a lot of great eShop games, and there have been a couple retail releases as well. 2 of those retail releases just came out pretty recently, and that's The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus and Has Been Heroes. So Isaac I've been playing a lot recently, and I really like it. I'm not super familiar with the game, but what I've played is really fun. It's sort of a procedurally randomly generated dungeon crawler where it's a twin stick shooter. So I really like games like that, and you get different power-ups, there's different characters to use, there's different abilities you unlock randomly through your playthroughs, there's challenges to do, so there's a lot to do in that game. It's a $40 retail release, but you do get a manual and some stickers and stuff like that. The packaging is really top-notch, so I'm really digging that game. I really didn't expect to like it too much, but I really have been enjoying it. And Has Been Heroes is another game that's pretty much unlike anything I've ever played before. A lot of people say it kind of looks like a mobile game, and I will give you that. You know, some of it does look like a mobile game, but there is good presentation involved with it as well as far as voice acting is concerned, and the gameplay is pretty fresh. So you take 3 different characters, and you're just going through a wave of enemies with a time limit. You unlock spells, you unlock different paths that you can go down, and ultimately you want to get to a boss and defeat the boss. The game is really hard though. I actually have had a lot of trouble with the game, and I've heard that it gets easier as you unlock new characters, but I haven't been able to unlock new characters because I keep dying all the time. So I do want to pursue it more. I think it's a fun game. It's definitely not, you know, a great game. It's probably, you know, a 6 or 7 sort of game if I was going to rate it, but it's only $20 whether you get it physical or digital. And then as far as the eShop is concerned, there's been a ton of great titles. First and foremost, you have the Neo Geo games. I've been playing a lot of those, and I really enjoy it. King of Fighters 98 is such a good game, and the D-pad surprisingly works really well. The little stock D-pad on the Nintendo Switch, it really works well with the game. And of course you have Fast RMX, or Fast Remix, however you want to say it, which is just top to bottom an amazing game. $20, you're getting a bunch of tracks, beautiful visuals, blazing fast frame rates. Like, it's crazy. Even when you do it like 2-player split screen in kickstand mode, which is what I was doing at work, it still looks freaking awesome. And I really like how they, you know, made the controls interesting as far as if you're using a single Joy-Con. Your turbo is mapped to pressing in the analog stick, and I really like that. It's kind of different if you've played it a lot, you know, in the Joy-Con dock mode or with a Pro controller, but once you get used to it, it's nice. It's a nice addition to the game, so I'm really enjoying that. And of course, another great game that was just released is Snake Pass. I did a full review of that a couple days ago, but Snake Pass is another top quality indie game, and that's what I like about the Nintendo Switch. You had a lot of crap on the Wii U eShop. Let's face it, there was some terrible games like Meme Run on there that were just, it was like a 12-year-old kid with a pencil made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, they were just terrible games, but there definitely is a better sense of quality control with this eShop. Now, there are some problems with it because a lot of the releases that were supposed to come out in the month of March didn't make it. One of those games is Pocket Fighters, which is a game I'm really looking forward to. Also, we have not heard anything about the Virtual Console. Now, me personally, I'm not too interested in the Virtual Console unless they do like GameCube games or more interesting systems than there's a standard NES and Super NES, which I own a lot of the games for, but I know there are some people out there that want more information on this. So, all in all, a solid first month in terms of software titles. There's a lot of stuff I was enjoying playing, and there's some stuff coming up in the upcoming months as well. You have Puyo Puyo Tetris, Daisuke 5, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. So those all come out in either April or May. And then of course there are more indie titles as well that are either announced or unannounced. So a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to play. So do I think after 1 month, the Switch is worth it in total, in terms of hardware, in terms of software? Let's find out in the recap. So minor system defects aside, I still enjoy the Switch. I have played my Nintendo Switch more than I've played any console in recent memory. My PS4 has pretty much just turned into a WWE Network and Netflix machine, and that's not a knock against the PS4. It's just right now the Switch is really offering me something different. It's really offering me something fun, and a lot of the games have really resonated with me. There's been a lot of great titles. I even forgot to mention Blaster Master Zero when I was talking about the software lineup, and that's pretty interesting because usually, you know, we're kind of like battered gamer syndrome if you were a Wii U owner, because you had nothing and there would be months of nothing, and then you would get a good game and you'd be like, yay, and you might get one good eShop game that month and you'd be like, yay. but there was months of nothing, and this has been definitely the complete opposite in terms of software. And at the end of the day, a system is only as good as the software that is on it. I do enjoy the hardware. I think it's really good, it's really interesting, and it really does allow you to play two-player local co-op anywhere with anyone, as I was doing at work. And the software has been diverse enough and enough high quality stuff to make me want more, to make me still interested in the system after Zelda, because a lot of people just called it a $300 Zelda machine. And honestly, I felt like that way sort of at first, but since I've been playing these other games and giving these smaller games a chance, I've really been blown away. So if you're able to find the Nintendo Switch, I do still think it's worth picking up 1 month later. I still think it's a great system. I think the future is very bright for it. There are some issues that need to be cleared up. I would like a little better online stuff. I would like to know more about this paid online service. I would like to know about the virtual console, but all in all, it's a good system. And if you're in the market for something a little bit different, something a little bit unique, I think the Nintendo Switch is a good pickup. Thank you for watching this video and sticking with me throughout all this Nintendo Switch coverage. I am going to go back to retro stuff. I'm working on a ton of retro stuff right now, but the Switch is fun to talk about. And sort of Nintendo is one of those retro companies that's still around. We've lost a lot of those companies, so it's always fun to talk about Nintendo stuff for me. Thank you for checking out this video. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out other videos on the channel if you have some time. There's a lot of great Switch reviews, a lot of great retro stuff, and just random stuff in general. And if you really like my face, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.